Chapter 329. Boyfriend Power. Xu Jingting's sharp eyes caught sight of Assistant Sun, who was trying his best to squeeze over. He sighed. This subordinate was not raised in vain. He lowered his head and said to Xie Yishan, "Hang in there. Someone's coming." Xu Jingting took off the big scarf around his neck and wrapped it around Xie Yishan's body. He then tied it around his waist and tied the two of them together. Her boyfriend was bursting with strength. He hugged Xie Yishan's waist with one hand and pressed her into his embrace. He used his other hand to block Xie Yishan's way and slowly walked towards Assistant Sun. Xie Yishan suddenly thought of the first time they met in the lecture hall. The first time he went to the supermarket. He was also protecting her like this. Actually, under such circumstances, he could have revealed that his girlfriend was Xie Yishan. However, in order to take care of his own feelings, he had always insisted on protecting himself from being exposed. How could she not treat him sincerely? Xie Yishan really wanted to tell Xu Jingting that it didn't matter. Just let her be exposed. However, his remaining rationality told him that he couldn't do this. In this life, she didn't have the ability to match him. She didn't dare to risk her life with him. Since he was the best actor, then her goal was the best actress. For them to stand together, for them to have a common topic and a common cause. Xie Yishan's thoughts went far away. When she came back to her senses, she should think about avoiding the current common crisis first. Assistant Sun saw that Xu Jingting was rushing in, so he rushed in with all his might. Finally, he reached Xu Jingting's side. More than 10 bodyguards surrounded Xu Jingting and Xie Yishan. Xie Yishan didn't forget to thank the couple who had been protecting them. The couple was moved to tears. Now, under the protection of more than a dozen of vicious bodyguards, Xu Jingting and Xie Yishan were safe. Unfortunately, they could not leave. Even if the two of them stayed in the car at this time, the car would not be able to drive out and would be lifted up. There were even people at the scene who started a live broadcast, and the cameras were raised as high as they could. Fortunately, after another 5 minutes, Suyuji rushed over with more than 100 people. Who was Suyuji? He was the highest leader of F group that had been exposed to the public so far. The power behind him was unimaginable. He had personally brought so many people here. It was obvious that Xu Jingting was not a rumor that he was a member of the Xu family. It also confirmed the rumor that Xu Jingting was a member of the Xu family's side branch and was working for Suyuji. Finally, Suyuji and his men met up with Assistant Sun's bodyguards and opened up a small path in the crowded cinema. Xie Yishan could be considered a person who had seen the world, but she was a little stiff after being trapped in the corner. The scene was too grand, and her legs were a little weak and she couldn't walk. Xu Jingting carefully noticed that no matter how many people were watching the live broadcast, he lowered his head and asked Xie Yishan, "What's wrong? Are your legs so weak that you can't walk?" Xie Yishan nodded obediently. "The person who knows me is Teacher Xu. Cover your face." Xu Jingting carried Xie Yishan in his arms, and Xie Yishan wrapped her arms around Xu Jingting's neck, her face still buried in his chest. Suyuji and Assistant Sun were speechless. She was still showing off her affection at this time. Let's go, brother and sister-in-law. What if he suddenly didn't want to save them? Could they feed everyone more dog food before leaving?